just a good old boy.
Alrighty, y'all, we are headed to Kane Equipment. Be the first time I've been there in a while, which is I miss seeing them, so I'm glad to go see some of the people that works there and the Canes themselves. I haven't been up there in a while, but it is kind of a good thing I had, because that means we've been spending money up there, which is my wallet's very happy about, and the farm's budget's very happy about. So, but we are going back today. I gotta get a bunch of parts for the square baler and oil filters and and all kinds of things. People kill me. Nowadays when you drive, they try to be nice, and I get it, but when it's your turn to go, go. Don't sit there and motion me on trying to be nice, or if you're coming down the road and you stop in the middle of the road and there's one car behind you to let me turn across, don't do that. You're gonna cause an accident or worse, and it's just a mess. I get people try to be nice, but there's a difference in nice and just annoying to a degree. And just obey the traffic laws and do what you're supposed to do. That's the number one thing. Man, people just annoy the living crap out of me with that crap. Man, I see it a lot now around here. And then you got the flip side of it. For me as a farmer, it's like yesterday I had a guy come flying by me, blowing the horn at me, just holding it down, and I'm like, and then you got another guy that sits behind me and he never passes me, and he just follows me the whole way trying to be nice. So I mean, it's kind of 50-50 of what you're going to get. You either got these people that are extremely nice and they're too nice, or you got these people that are just asses. So it's fun driving around here, especially as many people now live where I live, and it's getting harder and harder to do anything anymore, but it is what it is. So I'm going up here. I got to get a bunch of parts for the square baler and a lot of just service stuff for everything else. I'll go over everything I gotta get, but I'm mostly going up here to get the stuff I need for the square baler is just wear parts or something like that, and it's got to be put in it. We're going to be baling a lot of square bales this year. I got to pick up twine. I'm out of twine. I've got to have that. I've got hay that needs to be cut now. We're still trying to get done spraying. I'm nearly done with that on the hay ground, thank God. And the fertilizing's been done. I wanted to film more, but it's just been extremely hectic this spring. Again, I don't know what it is the last few years. I guess it's just because we've been so busy doing stuff, but I mean, it's just every day it's just something. I'm getting pulled in 1,000 different directions, and I've got to go get parts. I've got to get equipment going. I've got spraying I have to do. I have to put fertilizer out. I mean, I got hay deliveries. People calling me constantly wanting hay deliveries, which is good because hay's not going out the driveway. Nothing gets paid for. And it's just constantly something all the time anymore for me. And I never really get a break. And a lot of the stuff it's on me to do it. I don't have anybody to do it for me, so I can tell to go do some things. There's certain things that I have to do myself, especially the tech stuff or mechanical stuff. Even the hay orders. All my hay customers that deal with me specifically, which is the bulk of them, they want to deal with me, and I have to organize all that and put the orders in and make the schedules to what's going where and when's on what days, and trying to keep hay moving out. So it's just part of running a business. I mean, this is part of running a farm. It is what it is. I know a lot of y'all deal with it every day that's watching, and y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And it always seems that spring, for whatever reason, is extremely hectic. And I have been as unorganized the last few years as you possibly could be, compared to the way I've always tried to do things and be. Like, I mean, I just don't have time in the winter anymore to work on equipment. And that was something that I always strive for, was going through all of our equipment and keeping it in top-notch shape, adjusted perfectly, everything running as perfect as possible, so that way when we went to go bale hay, we didn't have issues. Last year I had more just simple dumb little adjustment issues than I've had in a long time, because I just didn't have the time to go over the machines like I needed to. And a lot of it's due to the hay sales, I mean, which is great. It's great to have them. I don't want to not have them, but at the same time, there's a flip side to that. I stay so busy on that side that I don't have time to do the general maintenance and stuff that I really need to do, and there's not enough money in this deal to pay somebody to do it, so I have to do it. And it ends up getting time crunched, and then I skip over some things I really should check, like the square baler. I'm putting some knives, the plunger knives in it. It's got a couple that's damaged. They could be fixed, but we'll go ahead and try to replace them, as long as they're not just stupidly overpriced. But it's just like that. I would love to pull the plunger and just go ahead and check all the chamber bearings, or the plunger roller bearings, in that baler while I'm at it, and just pull the whole thing, like I did on the 37 a few years ago. The baler's not that old, it shouldn't need any, but that don't mean there's not a manufacturer flaw in there in one of those bearings that I just don't know about. I've ran into that before. I mean, that's just equipment and manufacturing, period. It don't matter what brand it is. All it takes is one little part to have one little defect in it that didn't get caught at the factory, and a year or two in, it comes apart and it causes a whole hell of a lot of problems. And then from then on, the machine is never, I know that some of y'all have experienced the same thing. All it takes is one major breakdown, and it seems like that machine's never the same again after that, because of something that got bent in the frame, or something that you can't see or catch without really putting like a laser measurement on the thing or something. It just never quite be exactly the same. I've ran into that before, round balers over the years, and stuff. Vermeers had a lot of trouble with bearings going out, and nearly burnt 2 balers up, which I've talked about that before with those, and it can happen to any of them. But you gotta keep checking on that stuff. That's why with the Klaus, as it kept getting older, I would loosen the belts off and actually roll the rollers in that thing, all the rollers in that chamber individually, and just feel for anything in those bearings. If I felt anything that was remotely didn't feel tight and right, it got replaced. And that's just the way I went about it, and it kept it from having any major breakdowns or damage done to it, and it still bales great. But we're heading up here. It's raining today, that's why I'm doing this today. I always try to go get parts and stuff when it's raining. I don't want my twine to get completely soaked, but just because sometimes depending on the twine and the manufacturer of it, it can cause the balls to unravel and make a mess. But I don't want it to get completely soaked. We're not supposed to have much, hardly any chance of rain, but it is sprinkling a little bit now. Hopefully by the time I come back, it won't be raining, which it shouldn't be, but we'll see. We need rain because it's been really dry in our area lately. It rained continuously for a while, and then it's cut off completely dry really for the past like 2 weeks, and you can really tell it. The ground's getting dried out. Grass still looks really good, but if we don't get some rain, a little bit of rain soon, it's going to start to be a problem. But I'll get back with y'all when we're headed back. See y'all. made it back. Got a pallet of square baling twine and a piece of 5 rolls in that. I still had 5 left from last year because we bought extra because we was worried about not being able to get any if we needed it. And that should, we're planning on doing more square bales this upcoming year than we've been at, because all winter long I've been having to, or just about all winter long, I've been having to get rolls. Hold on just a second, get everything fired up. Rolls unrolled and rebaled. And I don't want to have to do that as much if I don't have to, which if we do, we will. A friend of ours and a neighboring farmer, he's got a rebaler, and that's who's been doing our rebaling for us. Works out good because we actually store hay next to one another where his rebaler's at, so I can just move it from right next to him to where it needs to be. So, but right now we're going to try to get a hold of this pallet, set it off. I can't see. That's one thing with these tractors. If I did a lot of pallet work with them, I would get me one of them rear view safety cameras like I've got on the balers and stuff, and the accumulator for the square baler to go on the loaders, so you'd have a line of sight off that screen of how to put it in there. So I'll have 10 rolls of the big rolls in that, plus 2 pieces, so that ought to be enough for a while anyway. And a pallet of twine to get us started. So we should be okay for a while. This is, I don't even know what brand twine this is. I know the net obviously is Klaus, which is typically what we always use, but the twine I have no clue. I'm gonna have to open it up and see. It may be Agco. I know last year that's what we run was Agco. It is blue though, so that's good. I like running blue twine. My customers, as crazy as this sounds, like blue twine, so I don't. But I mean, if it comes down to it, they really don't care, because we used orange last year. My dad loves using blue twine. He likes the way it looks on the hay. So, but that's it. I mean, I didn't order it that way. I just ordered the kind of twine that I wanted to use this year, as far as the length and the knot strength of it, and then it showed up and it happened to be blue, which is perfect. I mean, it couldn't be no more perfect. So I just hope it's good twine. If it's the Agco twine, I know it's good because I used it last year, except I using a different knot strength this year than last year. That is the biggest difference, is we're using different knot strength twine. Went from 210 to 190. All I could get was the 190 this year. Everybody around here, it's kind of a in between, so that was what they ordered this year, I think, or that's what they could get. I have no idea. But 190 works. 210 is the ideal because you won't have any twine troubles. 190, you generally don't have any twine troubles. If you get the 170 with the accumulators and stuff, you'll have some twine troubles. I've run 180, had no trouble at all with it, and it worked good. So before, I think this will actually be the first in the world. I think I caught one of the boards wrong or something when I stuck this, because it is stuck. There it is. But the this will be the first 190 I've used, but I've used 180 and it worked good. Anything less than that, I don't like to use. Now I'm back stuck again. What is going on with this pallet? This pallet's kind of, these are on, we're kind of busted a little bit, but alright, I got it off here. It happened when we was loading it. It got stuck on that flap on that truck's bed, and it kind of messed the pallet up. It was, so the truck's fault. It's got regular hinges instead of a piano hinge for the flip cover on over the ball. I don't know why the guy that fixed that bed used that instead of a piano hinge. I still don't, because he told me that he was going to use a piano hinge, but I don't think he could find any at that time. He just used what he had. I don't know. But if you're trying to push something forward flat on that bed, it catches on those hinges. I also got a spear for the rear spear I modified the other day, which I made a video of that, but I never posted it. See, they put those style on there and they stick up. But and I was backed up to a loading dock area, and they have to slide it forward from it to set it on there. Out of their new building they're building. It is nice. They're going to have a beautiful place. They got a really nice place now. They're going to have a really beautiful place and a nice dealership when they get done with it. Here's the blue. Let's cut this open, see what we have. Let me set you guys up. Put y'all on the tripod. Maybe you won't fall over, just so I can get this cut open. See, I don't even know what brand it is. It doesn't matter really. I know it ain't no crappy brand. It's AGCO. Huh. Got AGCO again. Which AGCO twine's good. I know I think their net is Cordex, which I've had good luck with Cordex. Hadn't used none of their net yet. I started to buy. They had, I know I was talking about on the way up there, they had the smaller rolls of net in the AGCO, and I started just to tell them to put me 2 of those on instead of the 2 of the Klaus's, just to try it and see how much better it did in that Klaus. But it's AGCO twine, 7200 190. That's what it is. I got a whole pallet of it. So we'll be putting that to use and using it up. And then there's what's the new net, and I need it. All my twine is over there behind my round baler, but it's in the way and it's got to be moved and gotten ready. So I'm gonna be moving in a few days, and I'll just put it all back then. But bought a hay spear to go in this spear out here I modified, and a whole bunch of other little parts and little giblets and things. But I went with the red spear. Notice they're red. The red ones are heavier duty than the black ones. I don't know if any of y'all know that or know there is a difference. Most of the time. Now sometimes they're not, but most of the time when you buy a red spear, they'll be the heavier grade than these black ones, like this and this spear. This is a light grade spear in the front of it. These will break if you push on too much, or over time they will. Those last a really long time or hold up pretty good. At least that's what I found, because like this spear, it's over here, this B and D, or what is that? What is that kind of spear? Blue diamond spear. It has a red one in it. They have held up really good compared to these old black spears that we've stuck in everything over the years. Like this frame was a set of pallet forks at one time. But here is the spear I've modified. And this is quick hitch acceptable the way I made this. And I cut out the tubing on the center and put a receiver hitch tube, and you can see how thick the plating is, and I mounted me a ball up top to remove trailers with and pull them, so that way we could pull the goosenecks this summer with this, and I can use it with the rear spear on the tractor still too, or I can pull the GI hitch trailer with it when I'm transferring hay on some of the farms that we have, moving it around to where we can load out, or to where I can take it, just pull it back to the barn with the tractor. It just works out really good that way. And I've never been able to have the rear spear along with the function of pulling the trailer, so I built this thing. This is a heavy duty category 3 spear is what it was. We cut the original spear off of it and put one of these collars for one of those black spears in it, which this spear here will fit in there too. And have used it like that ever since. Then I added the quick hitch brackets on it so it'd match up to the quick hitch we have. And then here the other day I welded these D-rings on and put the ball on top, and I cut that out and put a receiver hitch in it. That is very thick tubing steel and everything. This rear hitch is going to be way heavier than the ones you can buy at Tractor Supply and other places. They have little thin, like, I want to say it's like an 1/8 thick steel for the ball and everything to pull off of right up here on top. If you cut them open, and they do not hold up. They will not hold up pulling this. This is 1/2-inch steel plate that I've got this made out of. It's plenty heavy enough to do what we're going to do. And I've already used it. It's been tested, so now I'm going to paint it and put this spear in there. I've actually used it quite a bit, moving trailers around and hauling loads of hay with it, just without the spear. It worked good last year, so, but I don't think I filmed this, so I'm gonna paint it right quick, and then we're gonna throw that spear in it and put it back on the tractor. Oh, there it is. Got her paint. Should call this thing Frankenstein. It's had so many modifications done to it over the years, pieced and everything. That's what I should call this thing, Frankenstein. I intended on capping this and just filling all that up and capping it on each side, and then it's got that piece in the center and it's held up good, and then if I want to, I can access it to change out the ball or tighten it if it does get loose. But I was going to seal all that off and square it up nice and weld it all back together and make it a lot stouter like that, but it's done fine. It hasn't showed any signs of stress or anything, so throw a little paint on it just to keep it from rusting. Especially the areas where I did all the welding and everything. But we'll get this, once it dries a little bit, we'll throw that spear in there and it'll look good then. It'll be black and red. Georgia Bulldog colors. But let's go get some parts and I'll go over everything that we got going on with the baler. Alright, so what I've got going on with this thing is I've got to put a new knotter chain on it, because the other one needs a length taken out, and I'm not going to be taking the length out because sprockets are expensive and cogs, so it is going to be getting new chain instead of taking the length out. It's just better off doing that. Chain's not that expensive compared to sprockets. These are obviously the filters for the tractors. I ordered a bunch of stuff that's coming in. There's four knives for this baler. These are for the Coons accumulator. These are the springs for the trip lever on the dump for that accumulator. The ones that's on it are wore out. I've got to replace those. I've got a box of shear pins, and in here somewhere, 2 new twine knives. I always change those every spring, whether they need it or not. I go ahead and change them. They're not that expensive. You're better off just changing them. But these little bolts I don't know what it is. You can go to the hardware store and buy the same grade bolt, and they will not hold up like these will. I don't know what the deal is. I do not want to put a case hardener in this baler because that's too hard, but the ones below it, which is the same grade as these are supposedly, is not quite heavy enough. But I don't know what the difference is or what, but I've got a toolbox full of the other ones, but I went ahead and got these because they do last better. I'm going to be changing and putting one of these in this baler in a day or two. The knives I've got to go in it are the two, which you can't really see them, two outer plunger knives up there on the plunger, which it's all the way back, and then the two bottom knives down here. They've got little divots in them. I could weld them and sharpen them and put them back in there, but I need this baler to work perfect this year, and I need no issues out of it. So those will be getting replaced. They are ordered, and they're on the should be on the way. This rear guard is coming off. I hate this thing for the knotters, or for the twine forks. I'm taking that off. If you have to rethread those everything, it is just a pain in the butt, so that's leaving. I ran one for years without it, don't need it. Again, the knotter chain has to be replaced. It's out of adjustment. This one is still good. It's got plenty of adjustment left, which is the main drive. This is the shear pin I'm talking about that goes here. Don't really break the flywheel or the knotter shear pin on these at all, and then it has the slip clutches too off the drive shaft. Don't really ever break those two. I've got 2 boxes of those shear pins from when we bought the baler that came with it. But that one there is the one that the main drive one for everything, and it breaks ever so often. It'll work loose and you'll have to change it out. Another thing that's going to be going on with this is I have the steel over there. I think I got enough. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to be adding fins to this pickup head. One thing I've always had issues with these inlines, and this has been an ongoing thing with these augers and the pickup head. They've changed speeds, they've changed size and diameter of the augers. They've done all different kinds of things to these to alleviate wrapping and stuff. My problem I've always found with these in our situation is the hay coming over the side directs over the top of these augers. They have a little deflector piece that goes in there, but I hate those things. They don't work, and it slows the way the baler eats hay down tremendously. It eats hay a lot better without them. They're more for like alfalfa and stuff than they are for grass hay like I'm doing. But the problem I have is the windrows will be so big and so heavy that sometimes the wind will catch it and blow the windrow over here, and then when it sucks it over the top, it causes it to go over and overloads it and then wraps around the auger. So I'm going to put some fins on here to prevent that hay from coming over the top and go on the inside of the bar on this rack. So that leads me to the other topic. I really want to add a roller wind guard to this baler somehow. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do it yet. I'm going to start with these, and if I still need more, I'm going to look into, when I have time, building and fabricating a roller wind guard for this baler to help even out the flow of the crop going in. That's the key to these, is keeping an even flow of crop coming into them, and they will just eat on and run as hard as you can run them. And that, especially in Johnson grass and stuff, now that we're doing some mulch hay and stuff, it really needs that. So I'm going to try the fins, and then if they don't work to the way exactly I want them to, I'm going to be fabricating a roller wind guard. When, I don't know, eventually. So that's the squire baler, and I got to tighten up all the pickup chains and all that stuff. That's the squire baler. Now the accumulator is the springs I was talking about for the trip door. A lot of times it wouldn't want to trip towards the end of last year because these springs were wore out on both of them. I had to actually take a hay string and tie to this one and pull it tighter to get it to function right. And then this one was not pulling the arm over because it got worn out and soft far enough to connect to the latch that when it's triggered it wouldn't trip it. So I went ahead and got the 2 springs I needed for that. I'm also going to be doing, if I have time, keyword if I have time, I've got to go get the steel. I'm going to be fabricating a piece and modifying the accumulator as well for an issue that we've been having because of our terrain with that accumulator. So I'm going to be doing that, and that's going to be in another video. Hopefully I get to do it. If not, I don't know. I'll do it when I have time. But I'm hoping to get to do that sometime this spring before we really get it to baling hay, which we're within 2 weeks of wide open. So that's it. I got to change out some pickup teeth too, but that's pretty well the baler and what's going on with it. I've got a couple eyelets that's wore, but I mean they're just within spinning down there that really could have used changing, but they're not so bad that I can't just spin them and go to a different side. So that's going to be happening. All these things are going to be happening to this thing. This will be the first time I've really tore into this 40 since we've had it, outside of just minor stuff, and really had to do anything to those knives heavily, which I don't know if you can see it or not. It's hard to see, but there is a little chunk right there at the end of my finger out of that knife right there in the corner. I don't know if you can see that, and that's why I'm replacing the bottom ones. This one's fine, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace both, but I'm doing that. Then that one over there in the exact same spot, I don't know what went through this baler at some point, but maybe it was last year when we were in some of those new fields. They've got a little bit of a piece missing out of those 2 sides. This one here's got a small piece, but again, if I'm gonna replace one, I might as well replace both of them. The center is good, it just needs sharpening, so I'm not gonna be doing anything with it. But that's the square baler and what I got going on with it, and changes it needs and fixes. So yep, that's everything. Maybe one day if y'all want to talk hear about it, I'll tell you about this boat. I built it, and I'll go over that if that's something y'all want to see on this channel. I don't know. I have the other channel, but I've never done nothing with it. I was going to, but I just don't have time. It's just too much. I just don't have time. I wanted to, but the way life is right now for me is not in the cards. Maybe when I get older, my kids get older and they don't need so much maintenance. But that's the baler. I've yet to get into the round balers, which the Klaus is good to go. The new baler needs to change, checked, and some of the adjustments checked on it, and just went over overall, but it's in good shape as far as I know. And really the only major thing I've got left to look into is the tethers or fluffers, whatever you want to call them, and the mowers. I've still got to tear into those. So that's all coming. Everything's coming at one time. So y'all stay tuned for that, and I've got to go out here and throw this spear back on and do some other stuff. So thank y'all for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe.